Our parlay did not hit last night. Shocking. I know. But I did win my Spurs Nets bet against Eddie. Tattoos for Eddie. Run it back. Starts now.
Run it up, then run it back. Run it up, then run it back. Run it up.
Good Wednesday morning. Wednesdays are Friday, so this is why I'm super excited. I'd like to introduce the panel because look who's back. It's Evan Turner sitting right there, looking beautiful. Yeah. Good morning. Of course, Stadium Insider Shams Charania doing his best. And Eddie, I don't even know where you are anymore. How do you feel, by the way? No, don't tell me. Hold that thought because we're going to talk about losing.
Right, he's home.
I know, right? He's somewhere crazy. Look, a lot of basketball last night, a lot of fun to talk about, some interesting moments. So let's just jump right in right away. And we're going to start with Raptors Bucks. Jrue Holiday, season high 37, leading his team over the Raptors, fourth consecutive game without Giannis. So I ask you this, Jrue Holiday last night, Evan, was how impressive to you?
Man, he was a 10 out of 10. I've always been a big Jrue fan. He's an unbelievable talent, unbelievable teammate, and he's so underrated. And in situations like this, he really shows his worth.
Eddie, I heard a guy this morning, I don't know, some fan somewhere, but he said Jrue Holiday is his most favorite player to watch, which I thought was kind of a big statement. What do you think about that?
I'm not mad at that. To see somebody as aggressive as he is on defense, and then he's also is equally talented in offense. He doesn't always get the opportunity, obviously, with Chris and Giannis there, but when he has a chance to be the head of the snake, he can carry the weight. I mean, people probably forget Philadelphia Jrue and what he was doing out there, and as he grew as a player and became what he is. I think he's a borderline all-star this year, and if Jrue being your favorite player is not the worst guy in the league to pick as your favorite. Yeah, he's a champion. He's proved his worth in big games, and he's got a bag. He's got a bag that he doesn't always get to dig in. But you look at that, the double pump lefty, like that's tough. So I love Jrue Holiday's game, he gets all the credit for his defense, but he can get buckets as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think Jrue Holiday, this isn't the aggressiveness that we've seen really throughout his career. Nick Nurse said pregame last night that this is as aggressive offensively as he's ever seen Jrue Holiday. But really the circumstances have allowed that because there's been no Giannis Antetokounmpo for the last week or so. He's missed the last 4 games. Chris Middleton's been out about a month with a right knee issue after missing the majority of the season already after rehabbing his left wrist. So getting both of those guys back is going to ease the burden on Jrue Holiday. I think there is optimism that both Giannis and Chris will be back in the lineup on Saturday in Cleveland. But right now, at least the last week or so, it's been the Jrue show. And he's got everything. Like Eddie said, the three-pointer, the mid-range shot, the drives, the defense. He's really a two-way player. We just have never seen him in this position of being the focal point night in and night out.
It's a nice timing for all of this to go down. My second favorite moment from all of basketball last night is the following. Brook Lopez snatching the headband right off of the head of Gary Trent Jr. Here's the referee trying to explain everything exactly that went wrong here.
A technical foul for Lopez on 2 separate acts. He's been for 2 separate acts, so he ejected from the game.
2 separate acts, which is my favorite part. First of all, just real quick, reactions to pulling a headband off of another grown-ass man is what, Evan?
I guess
E.T., you ever seen that?
No, it's great. It's great improv if you're that mad. I mean, clearly it's better in a punch, but that was odd to see. I'm like, damn, like that's a $25,000 fine too if you throw it into the stands. So it might have been a triple whammy.
Just to do that off the cuff is just so random. And he was just so disgusted. I always liken these little things like the guy who breaks it up gets the true ire of the initial, like, look how mad he is at OG. He's just trying to break it up, bro. He's pulling you back. But it's like all of a sudden he's more upset at OG than anybody else. And that's always the funniest part of this to me. I like that Brook is sitting on the bench and can't believe he's ejected. No, right. You're ejected, bro. Like, this was crazy. This was wild. What are you thinking?
And it's always funny when a Lopez gets upset because they're usually pretty mild-mannered. So you don't see it. Like, even his brother Robin, when he threw the punch at Ibaka a few years back.
Yeah, like what was he so mad about?
I don't know. It's why I loved it so much. They're just both these giant cuddly animals, and you don't see them like that. But Brooke did speak on it. Joe Ingles, here you are.
Tell them you got dog fur on you, cat fur on you. Just ask. They just want to know what happened to Gary Trent's headband. That's all they want to know.
Yeah.
Why did it end up on the ground?
Do you answer Joe's questions or you just ignore them?
Should I answer Joe's question? It's just driving me so insane. I had to do something. It was talking to me.
Why did it end up on the ground? Eddie, how much do you love all of this?
This is like 10 out of 10. Like I like that he has like he feels like that's the most valid reason ever. He was talking to me. It was annoying. Like, what? But no, this is the entertainment I strive for when I watch the games. Like I would have never locked into Bucks and Raptors, no Giannis, no Middleton, until I heard that this happened. I was like, all right, I gotta see this now.
I love it so much, Evan. I want more of this in all of basketball, but this is just so, it's almost like a wholesome fight. Like no one got hurt. Hair,
Yeah.
It's like the equivalent of pulling a little hair. I mean,
Yeah,
we need
for
more, right? We need more.
A little bit. I mean, then the whole narrative of the fake tough guy comes around, and then that kind of scares guy away from scuffles.
God, I love it. Why is it on the ground? Giannis, though, did miss his 4th straight game. Like Eddie mentioned, a lot of people may not have tuned into that game because of that. He's got the lingering knee issue. Coach Bud says that it's precautionary. Shams just mentioned he actually might be back on Saturday, which is crazy. Evan, is this the best time if you have to take these types of times off? Is this the best time for him?
No, I think so. Right before All-Star break, obviously there's a lot of, guys down and kind of, preparing to, really make a run afterwards. So I think if you get your rhythm back a little bit, get the team right before All-Star break and, come out the break, hitting the ground running, it'll be perfect.
Shams, Fred VanVleet had a night in what is a loss, actually. But what is his future there up in Toronto?
There's a lot up in the air in Toronto. I mean, when you look at that entire roster, Pascal Siakam, OG Anunoby, Fred VanVleet, Gary Trent, those 4 guys are going to be coveted across the league. I don't think Pascal Siakam is a guy that a lot of teams have their focus on in terms of that Toronto will for sure move. But Fred VanVleet is a guy who's going to be a free agent potentially in the offseason. He's got a $23 million player option. And I'm told the Suns and Magic are 2 teams that are expected to emerge as suitors for him. I think the Suns' inclusion in this is interesting because Chris Paul's future there is kind of up in the air. He's got a $16 million partial guarantee. About half of his salary for next year is guaranteed. And so they could theoretically waive him, open up salary cap space, dump Landry Shamet, or they could move both of those guys, move Chris Paul, move Landry Shamet, move another salary, open up salary space to go get Fred VanVleet as a free agent, or they can try to do a sign and trade for VanVleet, maybe trade Chris Paul and multiple first-round picks to Toronto. The Raptors would have to engage in that. But, the Suns' inclusion in this is definitely eye-opening around the league in terms of where they're going and how they can potentially pair VanVleet with a Booker and Ayton, long-term.
Yeah. But do you like that afterwards? Do you like the connection between, VanVleet, Booker, and Ayton? I think sometimes the one thing that makes Chris Paul so special is his leadership and his guidance. And, the way that he can get to the guys. And I think one thing that they benefited from is you have an adult and, a man on the court that's showing you the way and also being a great leader for Booker to really show how to lead a franchise. I kind of like how the Suns are. I don't know how much VanVleet would really move the needle when you add it up.
Wait, hold on. Based on that, then, would you be shocked, Evan, if Chris Paul is moved, whether it be through this move or something totally different?
I would be shocked if he was moved for Fred VanVleet, for sure.
All right. Eddie, do you hate it or love it?
I mean,
like
I think Fred is such a better player right now that moves the needle. I get what Evan's saying, culturally and leadership-wise, but that team is a mess now, and Chris Paul's there. So, I think, you know what I mean?
I dig you, but if you're trying to sit there and they have aspirations of making a deep playoff run, like, is that really dangerous in the West? Like, if they're going for shot with the Warriors, can those 3 really take out what the Warriors have? Like, I think it's going to take more intangibles over a 7-game series to really take out a GOAT like Steph Curry or whoever else in that West. I don't think that's a dangerous trio.
I like it.
Eddie.
I like it. No, I mean, I like the thought process for sure. I mean, what he's saying as well about having to focus on the Warriors for 7 games, that's where they beat you up. Is you're defending that for 7 games. You're eventually going to have lapses. You're eventually going to be mentally strained. So, yeah, maybe Fred VanVleet does not provide that for the Suns. But I do like the idea of, that's not exactly a big 3. Book, VanVleet, and Ayton. And it's like, but you will be going against big 3s if you do that. So, yeah, right. I mean, I think it makes them better. Does it make them a title contender? No, unless Devin Booker is the best player in the world right now. And, he's nursing injuries. He looked great. He looked great before he went out. But, yeah, I mean, that team has holes in swapping CP for VanVleet. Well, I think you're getting the better player. I don't think it's actually plugging every hole in the boat.
Just not enough. It's just not enough. Last night, Joel Embiid, besides just giving another great post game, like classic Embiid, he had 41 points, leading his team past the Clippers. And you had Paul George and Kawhi on that floor, Evan. Is Joel the most dominant player in the league? Dominant being keyword.
I definitely think so. I think skill set mixed with, his physical capabilities is just unbelievable. And he's not afraid to hit you. Joel's going into your chest. Joel's looking to draw fouls. He's a 7-foot, James Harden. And, he takes full advantage of all his mismatches.
Yeah, Joel is the rare player who is like one of the biggest floppers in the league, but also gets beat on all night. And so, I understand why he flops most nights. So he draws the fouls. He is absolutely the most dominant player in the league, to the point where it's frustrating when he's not this physically dominating presence. And you're watching him, and he's having one of those kind of floppy games. And it's like, just go dunk on everybody 10 times. Like, what are you doing, Joel?
Right.
But I'm happy he's playing. Last year he was my MVP. I know Nikola Jokic ended up getting it, but I thought, he had the better numbers, and I just thought he had the better season. He's right up there again this year. He's second in the NBA in scoring, and that's just by 0.2 points behind Luka. For as much as we marvel at Luka's scoring, Joel Embiid's right there and could pass him. Well, he keeps having nights like this. He might end up leading the league in scoring. He's double-digit rebounds, and they're going to be a top 4 seed. He's probably my MVP favorite at the moment. And we have a lot of games to play, obviously. I know I just said the other day, I think Jokic is going to win the award, but I think Joel Embiid is having a better season.
No. I mean, I know we're talking Jokic down the road here in a second, but that's a big statement, Eddie. So keep the energy, because we're going to come back to it, because I feel like this is breaking news on your part. No big deal. On the Clippers side of thing, I mean, we got to see PG and Kawhi on the court at the same time. Wee, basketball fans. PG with 13 points, 8 rebounds, 4 assists, 5 turnovers in 29 minutes. Kawhi had 27 and 4 rebounds in 36 minutes. Look, this team is clearly banking on some sort of a light switch situation at the end of the season, Evan. But I ask you, if they're both healthy, truly, what is the ceiling for this LA squad?
Now, I think the ceiling, obviously there'll be a top 4 team down the line. I think anytime you have 2 talents like Paul George and, Kawhi Leonard, those type of two-way players, I think night in and night out, they can go up against anybody's best. And, Coach Ty Lue is a great coach. I think the adjustments on that team, they have a lot of versatility where guys can, work together, make it click, and they've been through those runs before. And I'm just a big fan of, Kawhi Leonard, man. He's like a 70% win percentage in the league. That's pretty impressive. I'm taking those odds.
That ain't bad.
Yeah, I just have to see it. That's the problem. I understand what they can be in theory. I just have to see it. I have to see them get out there every night. And maybe it is like conspiracy theory. They're just waiting for the playoffs. Maybe it's that simple. And they're not actually having these lingering injuries that are just piling up on them and are concerning and worrisome. Maybe it's just like, we don't really care until March, until April, and then we really play. But, yeah, Paul looked rusty, and that's part of the dealing with injuries. And yeah, they lost a game where James Harden looked like he'd been in L.A. for 5 days. So it's not like a great win. It's not a moral loss here. They lost a pretty rough game, and for all they can be, they don't show us that consistently enough for me to go, yeah, this is a true title contender.
Like Shams is over there like, mm-hmm. I get the talent on paper. We know how great they are, but it's, what are you basing your light switch theory on? Like, you're not the Warriors. Warriors have built equity in that department. We kind of wait for them to turn things on and off. It looks like hopefully that's what they're doing this season. But I feel like other than Kawhi being Kawhi and having a track record, I don't know why this Clippers team would depend so much on a light switch situation. Well, like, based on what, Evan?
I think one thing that they can count on is versatility. You know, you do have like the Morris, you do have Batum, you do have, like I said, some guys you can interchange and, you know, go small ball with and be very dangerous. Then you look a couple years ago, you had the same roster where those guys were number one 3-point shooting team in the league, 40%. And I think when you turn it into that type of game and you try to rely on your stars, which in the past is what you all really have to rely on, that's your ceiling if you're going to look at anything positively.
It's going to be interesting. All of this has just been an appetizer to what was the game of the night, ladies and gentlemen. Spurs. Now, I'm sorry. You know what? I want to go to John Wall because I know John Wall. What I remember of John Wall yesterday was roasting dudes on a podcast, Shams. But what is the latest on John Wall? I got too excited.
Yeah, I think it's a microcosm of the Clippers right now. They have two real needs. They want to see if there's a point guard out there that they can upgrade on. You know, they've had Reggie Jackson, John Wall this year. I think when they look out in the marketplace, that's the position of need. Yes, Kawhi Leonard, PG have the ability to flip the switch, but they need a lead guard in there. And I think they've looked into Mike Conley Jr. as a potential upgrade from what I'm told. And John Wall's contract is one to keep an eye on. He's got $6 million this year. He's got a team option next year. They've dangled his deal in talks, not only for Mike Conley, but also potentially get a backup big man behind Ivica Zubac. So look at the Clippers to being active here before the deadline here in the next 22 days to go potentially shore up that point guard position as well as the backup center position. They've relied on Moses Brown on a two-way contract throughout this season to be the backup center. So this is a team that knows it has a couple of holes, and we'll see if they'll be able to fill it.
Yeah. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm kind of looking for – I'm from Chicago, so I'm rooting for D-Rose to get one more chance. And I believe if you're going to give somebody a chance, this is judging off an interview I've seen recently. I think he's still locked in. I think he still has more 11 for him to go. And I think with that pace, that type of energy, I don't know who else you'll find. Obviously, you love Mike Conley, but – you know, you definitely need some energy and somebody to switch things up a bit. And when you mix that in with and they need an extra big man, you can go get Jericho Sims as well. Just a live guy that, you know, is an energy guy off the bench if you're not too much in love with Moses Brown. But I like the Mike Conley thing, but I think I want to see D-Rose in LA.
I read Shams reporting, and I got into the trade machine, and I was looking at everything, and I think they should maybe spring for Fred VanVleet as well. If they really feel like they need something at the point guard position, he could be a table setter for them. He could be an upgrade for what they have there with Reggie Jackson, who, look, Reggie was great for them 2 playoffs ago, and I understand why they retained him and kept him, but they clearly need a starter-level point guard to help set the plays up for Paul George, for Kawhi Leonard, for that offense in general. And you know Ty Lue, a former point guard himself, is just itching for someone to come and kind of set the table for everybody. So I read Shams reporting. I seen all the people he said that is interested in Fred VanVleet, and I didn't see the Clippers, so maybe they're just not. But I think if he's available like that, maybe it's something they should look into.
Man, Fred VanVleet's going to be moving. Good for him.
I mean, good for rock out. I'm just saying, like, y'all talking about winning a chip?
Whew. Like I mean, a lot of love.
We got to get that out there. D-Rose on the clip.
No, if I'm saying D-Rose, like, that sound crazy too.
I like that. I like D-Rose.
I checked my calendar. It sounded crazy. I didn't know what year it was, but that's fine. I appreciate it.
No, but I'm saying, but we also are saying, yo, I need for a title contender, who should I go get? Fred VanVleet. Like, and I'm not knocking it. Like, I'm a big Fred VanVleet fan, but like, how about everybody just stay where they're at if that's the case?
You know what I think's happening? This is like a name bigotry because I also have a very unsexy name. So I think that sort of holds me back. And I think Fred VanVleet is one of the unsexier names in the league. I think that's what's happening now. You guys are dismayed by that. But get over it.
Evan, when you go viral for this in a few hours, they're not going to put that part at the end. They're not going to remember the end.
No, yeah, clearly, because I just rooted for Derrick Rose to get the starting point guard. So people, Chicago's going to love me, but everybody else is going to hate me, per usual.
You know what?
That's all that matters.
There's worse things that could happen to you. Okay, fine. We can finally get to my favorite topic. God, I was so excited about this. Net Spurs, Keldon Johnson, career high, 36 points, lifting his team over this Brooklyn squad. Eddie, I know Kyrie was on the bench, but how does it feel to be a loser this morning for you?
I think Kyrie was in the crowd. I don't even know if he was on the bench.
I saw him.
Yeah, it's frustrating, but it's look. This is where you kind of look to Ben Simmons and go, yo, this should be a game that you, as a former All-Star, as somebody making $35 million this year, as somebody, look, I understand he's coming back from surgery. I understand all of the, I'm not going to call them excuses, all of the reasons he's not the former Ben Simmons as of right now. But you're going to look to him as a max player to say, you should be able to win this game on the road. The Spurs are one of the worst teams in the league. They're actively looking to lose as many games as possible. We need a better performance for you than that. And then to watch Keldon Johnson, a guy who you should be able to guard and disrupt a little bit, have a career high at the other end of the floor, yeah, you have to look squarely at him and put some of the blame on his shoulders. It is frustrating that Kyrie's calf flared up. That happened again a few weeks back as well, and he was nursing that. It is frustrating that Kevin is back in Brooklyn nursing his knee. But, yo, these are the games that you should be able to win with your all-star that you traded another all-star for.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's frustrating to happen for sure. And Michelle Beadle gets bragging rights, and I'll have to get a tattoo. So it's, like, really, like, doubly worse.
Are you getting a tattoo of Michelle? Like, what's the tag?
No, I wouldn't do that to you. That's just, I mean, we can decide together. Words. Like, we can figure it out.
Hey, long as it goes under a T-shirt, I'll do it. It's fine.
Yeah, that's fine. Placement's up to you. Evan, you agree with him? I mean, look, I think most of us probably thought the Nets could still win that game. But you know what? Spurs are fighters. They're fighters.
Yeah, for sure. I totally agree with Eddie. I mean, obviously with everything involved, I think Ben Simmons, his IQ, his natural ability, and obviously the team that they're going up against, I think that's not saying child's play, but he should be able to control the game with all the skill set and gifts that he has. And when you watched the game last night, the Spurs kind of came out, went on a run, hit him in the mouth. And, anytime the best player on the court is Keldon Johnson, is going to be, a rough night for the opposition. So.
Yeah, Ben Simmons, for all intents and purposes, has to be the best player on the floor. It can't be Keldon Johnson on a night like that. And when it is, the Spurs win and they win big. Keldon Johnson looked absolutely dominant, like the way he was driving the ball into guys' chests, and he was getting to wherever he wanted to get to, dunking on folks. So I think shout out to Keldon Johnson. Ben Simmons, 4 of 10 from the field, 10 points. Definitely need a better showing from him, but sounds like Kyrie Irving will be back for the next game in Phoenix, so that's a positive sign for the Nets. But yeah, there's no doubt this is a game in San Antonio after 2 tough losses after losing Kevin Durant. You have to get that win, and we'll see if this team can turn it around. They're not the same group as they were last year when KD was out, so they just got to go prove it now. So far, they're 0-3.
Enough about the Nets, okay? Like, just enough, because Keldon Johnson had himself a night. And I will say this, he started out, he's been a little bit draggy from behind the three, but he shot himself out of it. First Spur since David Robinson. This is a nice little list to be on, with 35 or more points, 10 rebounds, and 4 steals. It was an interesting game. We had Jeremy Sohan, like, going up against Morris and not backing down. Morris had nice things to say about that after the game. Like, there was respect shown towards the rookie. It was awesome. But as far as, look, the record is what the record is for the Spurs team. And I know a lot of people aren't watching these games, but I am. I'm watching all of them. And they are in so many of these games only to lose by 3, 4, 5 points at the end. And it's a rebuilding time here in San Antonio. But Evan, if you had to look at the positives for what this team has going for it, what would you say?
I think, like you said prior to, it's only been a few games for good teams that they lost 3 or 4 points. So sometimes after a season, when you go back and look at those moments, it might be something in regards to, having less than 20 turnovers a night, or, sometimes getting to the free throw line more, maybe even shooting 37% each night. Those little things can take, a 20-win team to a 40-win team or contender like that, just by focusing and, getting the little stuff in line.
Whee! My favorite part of the game, Eddie.
Yo,
respect it.
Shout out to Jeremy Sohan for, look, he went to the one-handed free throw and it's actually working. And I he needs a ton of credit for that. But yo, Twin, both of them, they're not exactly guys to be messing around with. And he had no fear. So you got to respect that, because those guys have made a reputation in the league for knocking everybody but Nikola Jokic down. and he wanted that smoke. So. Hey, and he respected it at the end of the game. So that's how it goes.
Just don't go to Philly if you messing with FOE. So stay clear of Philly until they give you a clearance. That's all I'm letting you know.
I love it. I love that kid. Okay, Evan. Eddie, you can hold on to your MVP stuff because now we got Jokic talk. And then we can come back to your craziness that you just spit out earlier. But it's triple-double, leading his team over Portland last night. So, Evan, we'll start with you since we know what Eddie thinks now. Who's your MVP right now?
The golden child, Jason Tatum.
Woo!
I like it.
And it's not even close.
Not even close.
Not even close.
Do y'all see what he's doing?
Dang, but not close?
Yeah,
I agree.
I was saying yesterday, 31
Because if we
points
say
a
it's
game.
close, it's going to Jokic again. And I'm straight on giving it 3 times to Jokic. Like, I don't know about y'all, but, like, I won an Embiid last year, but I think this year's Tatum.
I was saying yesterday, 31 points a game, the best record in the league, and great defense is not being talked about nearly enough. And I understand part of it is because you have a guy like Nikola Jokic having an incredible season. You have Luka doing what he's doing. You have Joel Embiid doing what he's doing. So I get it. But, we do not lack for TV time. We do not lack for ink or bandwidth. We have plenty of opportunity to talk about Jason Tatum's incredible season as well. So I love the mention. Evan. And when I spoke with JT when they beat the Nets last time in Brooklyn, I had to tell him, like, as of right now, you're my MVP, and it's been a month since then. He's still in the race. I don't mind that at all. In most seasons, now the MVP, like, candidacy and credentials have been skewered in recent years, but in most seasons, being the best player on the best team and having really great stats is the MVP thing. And now it's like, we like these other guys better. So it's very interesting.
Yeah, we're spreading the love. Although I think
Jokic averaging a triple-double, though. Like, that's the thing. He's averaging a triple-double, number 1 seed in the West. Listen, I'm a voter. I think this is going to be the toughest year. At least I've voted for the last 2 or 3 years. This is going to be the toughest year because Jokic's averaging a triple-double on the number 1 seed. Jason Tatum's his team's got the best record in the league. He's been absolutely dominant this year. You have Giannis, you have Luka, you have John Morant. So listen, I agree with ET. I agree with ET. I see his point. Thankfully, I'm not voting yet though. So I'm good.
Yeah, you got time.
Yeah, look, as we say this, Jokic went 13 to 14 from the floor yesterday. He had 36 points. He had a triple-double. He clearly still hates Nurkic for whatever they were dealing with way back when in their rookie years and punished him all night. So let's not make it like he's some slouch. You're right. He's averaging a triple-double. He's the best team in the West as well. But, I just think these other guys are also equally deserving, and it's going to be tough. I'm happy I don't have a vote. Please don't register me. Don't add me to anything. I don't want to vote. This is too much stress.
No, you need to vote.
I'm sorry, Michelle. I just think Jokic, after a while, like, numbers become numbers. We see him with triple doubles all the time, and that's unbelievable. Don't let me take that away from him. But now, after Jokic won it twice, now is there a way to judge by a different standard? Like, should our MVP have to make it to the Western Conference Finals? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, eventually,
I mean,
he's kind of going home the second week every year. You know what I mean? So, like,
I think you're right, because I think that argument you're making right now is why Luka's not the MVP for me. I think because he does a lot of great things, but the team itself is, I don't have high expectations. Whereas Jason Tatum should at least be the second favorite if we're basing it on that, if not the top dog. But it's weird because I don't see Embiid on this list at all. And I believe it was not only 10 minutes ago that Eddie told us that Joel Embiid
Great odds.
is the MVP.
Great odds. Look, we've been getting killed in the parlays, but that's a good bet right there. That's a really nice one.
That's a great point. We know nothing. Look, on the other side of things, we do want to give a little love to Damian Lillard. He did have 44 points, 8 assists. You're a former teammate, Evan. So as far as his loyalty, his commitment to just not this team, but the community as well, what are your thoughts on that?
Man, he's one of the most loyal guys you ever meet. He's one of the most honorable guys you ever meet because, his work ethic. And when you know him and everything, you really don't believe he's going to, take an L because his will is so strong. And I spoke to him last night, and the only thing he's focused on was just making sure, like, hey, we got to turn this around. We're still in a good position. I see what we can do, but I think they're going to right that ship. I think they'll make playoff pushes, and I hope he gets some guys around him to really challenge, and make it a contender situation. Because I think if he gets close, he can make some stuff happen.
I also want to note, in those clips we watched, there was a lot of Jokic standing there waiting for his guy to get out through the screen.
Exactly.
And there's a lot of him just watching watching him hit threes, watching his guy dunk. And so when I think about the MVP, this is the type of stuff I think about as well. And, that matters. Both sides of the court matters. Great numbers, incredible numbers. And I know like the advanced numbers say like they're fine on defense when he's on the court. But I watch clips like this and I go, I don't know. I don't know.
Go look at Damian Lillard's numbers every time they play versus the Nuggets.
The spiritual experience game? That was on them.
And then you break it down, like Jokic is putting up 80 points of offense and he's giving up like 75 or 80 points of offense. And that's no disrespect to him. It's just the truth. So when we're saying MVP and Tatum is locking dudes up, he's guarding Kevin Garnett.
Yeah.
Kevin Durant. I'm sorry, Kevin Durant, not Kevin Garnett.
I know. I thought that was another breaking news. I was like, wow, really?
With D-Rose.
Dame making the All-Star push, by the way. I love that because he missed the time and you kind of lose him in the shuffle. And the West guards, are a little jumbled up. And it's like, it's really like either going to be him or De'Aaron Fox. I would pick De'Aaron Fox, me, myself, personally. I'd like to see the young guy get his shot. But I understand if Dame is in the game, he deserves it. He's playing well. He's leading the league in scoring in January. So he's not like he's, he would be a bad all-star. I like seeing him in the game as well. When he just starts shooting half-court shots and making them, like it's always fun.
I feel like the top 75 ever, you should be a shoo-in for the All-Star game, don't you think? Like that's just how I feel.
Dame is going to be an All-Star. I would assume.
Yeah, for sure. I'm showing up to Salt Lake every year until I'm done. If I'm top 75,
you don't want D Fox to get his shot. You're not. It's like is this a Kentucky thing? Is this like what is the beef here?
No, I'm a big De'Aaron Fox fan for sure. Top 75 to ever.
It will feel a little strange if the Kings get 2 All-Stars. I love them, fun team.
Yeah,
but it will feel a little strange.
It's got to be one or the other.
Yeah. Baby bonus, he's in there.
I think so too. But you're right. It's like we can't go from nothing to 2. That's too much. It's too much. Or unless we expand the rosters, which we could do that. Next up, guys, poster time. My favorite, the best dunk so far, and Shams will make us smarter when Run It Back returns.
Run it up, run it back, run it up, run it back, run it up.
Welcome back to Run It Back. This is, of course, the busy season for Shams. I'm not sure when it's not busy for you, Shams, but here we go. This one's close to home. What can you tell us about the latest on the Jakob Poeltl trade rumors?
So I'm going to tread lightly here because I know you're on here, Michelle. But the Spurs have had a few teams reaching out with interest, including Toronto and Boston, I'm told, trying to get Jakob Poeltl. This is a guy that's going to be a free agent in the offseason. He turned down a 4-year, $58 million contract extension before the season. It's been a standing offer all year. And he's turned it down. And I think there's a belief around the league that he's going to get somewhere close to $18 to $20 million in a new deal in the offseason. So the Spurs are going to be in a place where, yes, they want him a part of their long-term future as of right now. But, what could you get in the marketplace? What team could reach out and make a crazy potential offer? They're going to have over $50 million in cap space this upcoming summer. So the ball's really in the Spurs court. They're going to be able to dictate in some ways how this goes. But Jakob Poeltl has kind of wanted, I think around the league, the belief is that he's wanted a more winning environment. So we'll see exactly how this unfolds over the next couple weeks.
Yeah, he's shown some really big glimpses lately. Like he's very aware. Oh, look, all I ask, Shams, is that the national media talking heads pronounce his name correctly. I have the very slowest of bars for what I expect at this point. That's all I ask, Shams. You
nailed it. Am I saying it right?
No, you nailed it. I ain't talking about you.
Yes. Yes.
But thank you. I know you're on the phone before the show started. There's stuff going on. Get out there, get it. Enjoy your week and the rest of the weekend. We shall see you Monday.
Shout out point forward. Shout out point forward.
You already know, man. You already know.
Here we go. It's subtle. I love it. No, you guys aren't going anywhere because we got stuff to do. That man has a family, and why not? Why not start with Joel? Blackety black black.
Yeah, he's scary. Like, why drive on him?
Well, that's a great question.
Yeah.
Evan, has he ever blocked you?
Of course he's blocked me. Everybody's blocked me. What are you talking about?
Hey, I tried to give you the out, man. I thought you can lie. You can lie. It's all right.
You could lie.
Bro, I don't even have enough athleticism to drive past them and then extend and try to think I'm gonna so I usually drove and kicked the baseline.
Smart man. That's what Terrence Mann should have did right there. And he tried it for some reason.
Yeah.
I mean, look, that list is fine, right? Drew Banks with a block on Conchar. What?
Bro, he wasn't about to dunk it.
I don't even know what to say.
Yo, he tried to, like, the best dunk of all time. Like, he thought he was going to pull that off.
Boy, no. And even that announcer was like, dang, you tried to dunk it. I'm like, bro, get out of here, bro. This is not an NBA commercial. The NBA did not. That's not an NBA commercial.
This looks like they're filming a movie. Like, this is how blocks look at a movie. They did this on purpose. This is crazy.
And those two are the main characters because the only other people that are supposed to be doing that was probably Shaden Sharp or something.
That's the worst movie ever made. I would just like put. By the way, I don't want to be a hater here, but even without the block, that wasn't gonna go. I wasn't gonna make it.
Yeah, I have no clue what his plan was. Nice drive, but
I'm not a physics major, but that doesn't look like it was headed in the right direction. All right, that's fine. I appreciate the effort. Josh Richardson, y'all.
Now that was crazy.
Yeah,
I like that.
That was crazy.
Now we're talking.
Yo, when you pin it like that and clap the board that hard, like that's fun. That's gotta feel great.
Yeah,
right.
And Ed is an athletic guy, Edmund Sumner. So to get up and get that, that's tough.
No,
I love that.
He was sharp, man. Just two hands, crazy.
Only thing he could have did better was catch it like Jordan, but he's not Michael Jordan, so I'll give him a pass.
Next one, next time. That was a great moment, though. It's a great moment and what was a pretty sloppy but fun game. I'm not gonna lie. Brandon Clark on Sharich.
Yeah, I don't know why Dario would jump with him. That made no sense. Don't ever jump. They're down 30, I think, too. So, like, look how little Dario Saric got off the ground.
Right?
Like,
no, his head's not even in it.
Head top. Dario's trying to get some minutes, and it's not gonna work. It's like that's not the way.
That ain't it.
You're in there for a reason.
It's not gonna work. Yo, when a guy gets the full 2-foot jump like that, you just take the ball out, just inbound.
It's so pretty. I love it. Jaws even. I mean, that whole team is they're having fun. It just looks like a big old party every night. Can't hate that. Jordan Poole.
Ooh.
Okay. Okay.
That's a lot of work to have to do for a little guy on a big. So I'll give Gafford some credit for his defense.
That's nice.
He made him get deep in his bag for that.
Yeah, it's a tough shot too. I give Jordan Poole much love on the body control. This is a tough shot, leaning forward and finishing off the highlight. I think he was cooking that quarter. He had 22 in that quarter. So shout out to Jordan Poole.
Evan, did he travel a hop step into a pivot?
Not in this league.
Okay, I'm just wondering. 1, 2.
There's no such thing.
Nah.
Yo, I know that like in Giannis's NBA, the gather is so many steps. So I don't think anything's a travel as long as you're.
Giannis's NBA. RJ Barrett over Scotty Barnes.
This is crazy.
That's a body. That's a nice body.
And that was descended to overtime, which is crazy to me.
Ooh, and Scotty wanted it. He really tried. He was trash talking that game. He was going after it. That's a tough dunk. That's tough.
And at the Garden, and RJ Barrett, he just fouled Scotty to play before, so to really come back and make that play, push into overtime. And he's from Canada, so he got that big dunk while the homies at home watching. I'm hyped for him at the Garden. Way to put on.
Let's see. Look, I like when you dunk.
Yeah,
I like when the refs let you look at the guy and tell him you don't ever jump again.
I love it. And perhaps the best, a throwback, if you will. I don't even know what today. Oh, it's Wednesday. Yes.
Oh,
Evan Turner on LeBron.
Yeah, that was. I think he might be 50-1. So for every one good play I had, he got me 50 times. But I'll definitely show my daughter that. Hey, Aubrey, and we're rolling with that. I'm fine with that. I'm grateful. I can't believe it went in. And that was a foul,
you're so
too.
cool about it.
I was like, did you get the whistle? Looked like a little foul right there. I don't know.
Oh no, I haven't turned. I think I shot 2 free throws per game my whole career. So I don't. Me and the refs, we just appreciated each other were there. That was it.
Nice. I do appreciate your response. Is just very cool, calm, collected.
Oof.
Like I like that.
That's a nice bag right there. No push. That's.
Oh, it wasn't too bad. You know, if you give me a little 2 or 3 minutes to express myself, it's gonna work. It's gonna work.
I know Brian was pointing at the wet spot. I know how he gets down. But that's a nice move. I like that.
Nah, Brian, luckily he's always he knew I needed it. I'm like, bro, I appreciate you. I need this for a career highlights. Everything else looked kind of crazy, but you made it valid.
That's a tough slice in the paint, in traffic on that guy. I like that one. I like that.
Oh, it must be fun.
I like it.
It's so good. Oh, we take a quick break here. When we come back, who are the guys that these guys are hitting the panic buttons on? When Run It Back returns.
Man, it's about that time. So, I just got a question for Shakira, Pritchett. Will you make me the luckiest man in the world? Will you marry me? Yes. Will you marry me?
Hell yeah!
She said yes! She said yes!
Oh, no. Oh, no. Guys, what was that?
Yo, that was a man being efficient and innovative.
That's what that was?
2 first-class tickets to Paris would have been like 10 or 12 K a piece. He's like, you know what? The Bulls are going. They throwing this bomb dinner at this nice restaurant. You know what I mean? Everybody else is just going to go home. So why not me spice it up? And I'm loving it. And the whole response of the hell yeah, that's
was funny.
That's what I want to hear. Yeah. After
Must've been
I
a hell of a
spent 6
diamond.
figures. Yeah, 6 figures on a ring. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
Okay, but first of all, are you allowed to use work time to be doing your own personal proposal stuff? But also, I don't want to be the hater here because some people know my stance on marriage. It's foolish and it never works. But that being said, Eduardo, is it not a little cringy in there for a like at first you're like, this is awkward.
Hey, I all for their love. But when I saw the team photos and I seen a lot of wives and girlfriends on the planes, and I said, isn't this a work trip? But it was like Paris, and I'm like, I had the same exact reaction as Evan. These guys are smart. This is a free vacation for you and the wife, you and the girlfriend, you and the fiance.
Yeah.
It's on team dime. It's these guys got it. They know what they're doing. They know how to play the game. Was it a little cringy, like as everybody's trying to have dinner? I don't think you're allowed to say that. I think you're just, you celebrate the moment. The Louis knapsack, that was a little cringy, but that was a gigantic rock he had in that gigantic box.
Apparently.
And so that doesn't fit in your pocket, I guess. But all for that. Smart guys. I like what they did. I seen a lot of wives on that plane. And then, if FanDuel sends us somewhere, if FanDuel sends us to Paris, I'm going to try to weasel the +1 as well. I see what they're doing.
The +1 I get. Of course, we want to bring someone with us. But it's the, hey, everybody, I hate to interrupt your appetizers. I'm going to do some weird, awkward stuff right now in the middle of the room. It's just, I'm a hater. Yeah,
but ask the girl that's been waiting to get proposed to if it's weird and cringy. She like, no, hell, this is right on time.
I will say her reaction was fantastic.
Nice ring. Yeah. Nice ring. He knew what he was doing. He got it right. He got it right.
Yeah, I believe that one's gonna last. I believe that one's gonna last for sure.
It better, because now we have photographic evidence. So it better.
There's a 40% chance it makes it. 40. On the other side of things, so Pistons rookie Jalen. Come on, Jalen. He's the youngest guy on the team. He lost his passport. They're trying to figure out a way to get him over to Paris in time for the game. Passport issues are not a joke. What do we say to this young man about passports and where to keep them?
So this young fella turned 19. He's the youngest player in the league. He turned 19 in November. I have an 18-year-old daughter. I could not imagine traveling with her internationally, and just the idea of, okay, she's gonna do all the right things and she's gonna be fine and be, So I'm not surprised at all. God only knows where his passport is.
It could be anywhere.
And you know how packing goes. He's packing for like a 5-day trip. He's doing it last minute, of course, because he's 19 and he's rich and he's famous and he doesn't care enough to pack. And he lost the most important thing he needed for that trip. I hope he finds it. I hope he makes it.
The moment when he realized he doesn't know where his passport is, that's such a bad moment.
Gotta be fun.
It's like, do I still get paid for this or no? You know what I mean? Like, should I show up or will my check be there or no?
Bummed.
You know, Billy Donovan said a really loud cuss word. Or not Billy Donovan, excuse me, wrong coach. But you know his coach said a really loud cuss word when he says, like, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
It's a different world. I'm old enough to remember, like, you were told if you lose your passport, you're dead. So like the passport is it's the thing I treasure most. So yeah. Plus, if you ever murder someone, you gotta get out of the country fast. You need to always know where it is. Panic button time. Pacers, you're up first. 23-22. You lost your last 4. Halliburton, of course, is out. They were on a nice run for a minute there, Eddie. Are you hitting the panic button on this team?
Not necessarily, because it's clear they're missing their very best player, their all-star, their point guard. So you know that they can right the ship when they get back. The problem is in the standings. They are jumbled up with some teams who really want to get out of the play-in, the Bulls, the Hawks, and they're not going to let up. But if you look at these 4 games they lost to 4 playoff teams. The Hawks, who are probably the worst of the bunch, they lost on a wild tip-in buzzer beater thing. So I'm not panicking just yet, but they need Reese out there ASAP. And I wish Shams was still here so we could bug him and find out. And hopefully he would tell us. But they need him back ASAP, and once they get him back, they'll be the team we saw in all of December.
Yeah, I agree with Eddie. I'm not hitting a panic button on them yet. I mean, at very least, if we're trying to make them a playoff team, if they get into a playoff game, playing game, I think if they're healthy, their identity is to play hard, play tough, and play together. So, once you have a team like that with that type of identity, I think everything will get back to how it was when the health is up to par.
Guys, we're going to take a break here. Our parlays have been just stinky, stinky, stinky hot garbage. But I believe that with Evan here, we can change things around starting today when Run It Back returns.
A lot of pressure.
Run it back, run it up, 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 run it back, run it.
Bet the NFL playoffs with FanDuel, where every play is a rush. This weekend, FanDuel is giving all customers a no-sweat same-game parlay during the divisional round. Doesn't matter if you're new to FanDuel or already have an account. You'll get free bets back if your NFL playoff same-game parlay doesn't hit. Same-game parlays let you combine all your favorite bets for a chance at a bigger payday. You can even ride with thousands of other fans and bet popular SGPs already made for you. Make every moment more with FanDuel, official sportsbook partner of the NFL. Well, might as well look at what we did last night. And Eddie, you're the only one that earned your money. So well done to you. What say you on this one?
I was ridiculed for my trust in Nick Claxton, and he handled business. So take that, Chandler.
I don't know if ridiculed is correct. But yeah, no. Clippers are garbage. I'm not doing that again. Okay, so it's Wednesday. This is our last chance to go out on the week as winners. We're going to give it a shot one more time. I was on such a run, Evan. You have no idea. Eddie, why don't you start this for us?
I got the Cavs. This is a lot of points, 7.5 points. I understand the Grizzlies are the hottest team in the league. They've won 10 straight games. But the Cavs are really good, and they should be close in this game. I don't know if they're going to win, but 7.5 points is a lot. So I'm taking the points here.
Okay, taking the points. I will be representing Chandler on his. He has the Pacers +4 against Oklahoma City. I don't know if I agree with him on that one, but you know what? It's Chandler's pick, and we're going to go to Evan in a second for his opinion on that. Before we can, I'd like to also tell Evan that I am taking the Kings at -4 against the Lakers. That was probably perfect. Okay, he likes that one. All right, tell me what's wrong with Chandler's pick, because I saw your face. I already know you hate it.
Thunder's a dangerous team. And you're talking about Pacers, on a 4-game losing streak without Tyrese Halliburton. I just think at Thunder, they just beat the Celtics by 50 last week.
Gosh,
And they went on a road and had a lot of good games too. I think those young dudes are playing with a lot of energy and talent. And the best player on the court, I guess, in that game is Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. So I'm rolling with the big dog.
I like that.
Yeah.
I like that. Eddie, I feel good about yours and mine, and not Chandler's, and we can shoot him a text and tell him why and make sure he knows it. But that's all. That's all I have to say about that. By the way, real quickly, Jordan Poole at the White House yesterday. A++, or what are we giving it?
He's enjoying himself. He's enjoying this life he's living, and I understand. I love it.
Got the smart glasses on. Evan, appreciate you as always jumping in. See you again soon, and everyone, great weekend.